I'll use the leg to where I recommend it. I'm just a bit of disappointed with the local service. We have a bit of an issue with it. We had for 100% transparency. As you can see, I just turned the engine off when it was warm, and it should be quite level right now. As you can see, it is full, right? But according to the manual, you shut the engine off, wait 1 minute with the operating temperature, then wait 1 minute and it should be on the low line of min and between them and the max, right under the max, right, like any other normal bike. And what happens? It is not. It is too much oil. It is too much oil. It didn't have any issues before the local service changed it. Local dealer. It's still in warranty, so I can't do it myself. But we had an error of low oil pressure, and then we had to tow it there, and they checked it, and I could see already in here. Maybe you can argue about the speed downhill. I did on the road as well and other places. We just got it back from the warranty again, and I think that's what caused the issue on that sensor, because it's running fine and the oil level was fine. And when it came back, I didn't even think to check it. But when the error came, of course I pulled off and I'm like, what the hell? I was of course looking like, what happened to the oil? Is it leaking? Is it, stuff like that. Of course the first thing I checked, and then I check, what the hell? It's too much. And that would probably, it's not that much that would blow the engine, but it's definitely enough to mess with the sensor, and maybe not the best for the engine. So that's why I'm a bit pissed. But the local service. But I don't see any bubbles on the engine oil right now, so it shouldn't be that bad. But sorry about the rant, but that's gonna piss me off a bit. But the bike itself is actually very good, and also before we had the first 1000 service, when that local service got their hands on it, it actually runs nicely. It's a good engine. We're gonna go over also the fueling map. I won't say issue, but the problem with Euro 5 Plus. But let's start down low. The tires that the bike comes with, these are Scorpion Rally STRs from Pirelli. These I would say are 50-50, 50 off-road, 50 road. They are very good on these types of what do you call it? This kind of this type of ground. The sand is also half decent. Road is half decent. They're actually very good tires, and on the mount they are even actually half grippy, I would say. They're definitely not like fully knobbed, and they're not actually that bad to ride because they still have quite a thin gaps in a way and big pads. Back as well, same tires, different size, but but same tires. Definitely very good. They're also like 200 euro tire already, so that's 400 euros on the tires already. That's not some weird random brand of tires. But enough of that. The rims next. These are spoked rims, spoked wheels, and I'd say that's a lot better than the city version of that same bike. Same city version as aluminum rims. They're a lot lighter. These are heavier, which is very good. You want the heaviness, so on the highway it's actually more stable. It doesn't want to lean that much left and right. It's still so light, it's gonna lean nicely left and right, but you can have the extra stability of being hands-free, no worry about any death wobbles or anything. I mean, if you go 160 down some steep hill maybe, but up to 140, nothing to worry about. Now, The spokes also help when you're riding off-road, take some vibration, or just on the road, reduces some of that vibration, because every spike or spoke is a bit of a like a spring, so it kills the vibration quite nicely. The downside would be that it's not tubeless, so there's tube inside like a bicycle. So if you puncture it, you have to fix the tube. But with bikes that are tubeless, you would have to plug it, which is sometimes faster. Just plug it, done deal. But here you have to fix the inner tire, and then you have to, usually a good idea to put some glue, and then you can just use the tire, which again is an upside, but more work and harder to do when you're on the road. It's a lot easier to plug just on the road. Spoke wheels on the back as well. Now the brakes. For that size, these are Brembo brakes. For that size of bike, they are very nice. Maybe I would have liked to see already 2 front discs and also front calipers. But what that bike is meant for, I would say it's not actually that bad. You know, it's definitely not that bad. It brakes really nicely. You can feel it using these 50/50 tires. Maybe you don't want that much in the front, so it's safer actually to have one big disc than do smaller bit ones or things, and it's a bit easier to service. Brembo brakes are obviously very nice too. So that's a quality brand. Back as well, I can see ABS disc here, ABS disc there. ABS on the back you can turn off, and it stays off, which is really nice. If you want to turn it off, stays off. Doesn't matter how many times you turn it on and off, which many bikes don't offer, and that bike does. Suspension is very nice. MP Apex, or it's a quality brand. It has preload adjustment. Right now it's quite set. There's still a lot of preload left. Let's say it's about 35%, 40%. You can get it stiffer, but for my weight of 96 naked, I would like to maybe 3 more clicks, but for 70-80 kilos that's already very nicely set up, which is very nice. Softness and hardness, I would leave it as is. It's very nice on the factory. Front as well, that's adjustable fully, both sides. Yes, it's adjustable on both sides, but the front, I would say, I kind of like it. Personal preference maybe, but it's nice to know that you can swap it. I mean, you can. It's actually very high quality and pretty expensive shocks on this type of bike. Now the pegs are a bit of a downside. It could have really used those spiky ones, because if you ride like really wet, these feel slippy. It's a nice rubber, and it helps really reduce the vibration of single cylinder engines, but that is a downside. The spikes would have been nice. Even tiny spikes on the side would be nice, and the passenger ones as well. It's very nice to have a passenger here. It feels really nice. It's quite light. For them, it's also really nice to hang on from that. It's a very big piece. The exhaust, I would say, I really like that the exhaust is really low. It gives us a bit of nice clearance. There's also a patch plate, as you can see. Metal. Thin, but does something. Clearance. The clearance is about, well, yeah, about, if you open up your arm like that, a bit more than that. So let's say about, I'll give you the measurements. For that bike, it's decent. It's very nice. It's not an off-road bike, but you can definitely ride it off-road. Another great thing about this bike is it's easy to access everything. The coolant tank is here, obviously the brake, rear brake fluid, the voltage modulator. Everything you need is quite close here. The oil cap, the oil filter, oil sensor most likely, the clutch cable, and the fans and what. Everything's very nice about it in that sense. O2 sensor on the exhaust, the Lambda, and also good thing about the exhaust, I kind of prefer that to keeping it up, which because it keeps the weight really low. That bike has also very nice weight management. I would say most of the weight is below the wheels, so it feels a lot lighter on paper. It's like 170 on paper, but you actually feel it's more like 150 if you just think full weight. The headlight is very decent on the night. It's actually very good, the headlight. On this corners might feel a bit sharp when you're to sharp corner. It's not as gradual, so the corners are quite sharp, and it's pretty bright. And you might at dark, to other riders it might look like you have high beams on, which I've had sometimes. People think I have high beams on, so they put their on and I put mine on, and then they take it. And I've also been behind it and looked in the mirror. They are pretty bright, but you as a rider, you see very well, so it is like that. Yeah, we're getting quite high up on that bike. Just show it a bit. There's not much room under here. There's mostly there's actually two pieces as well, and it's mostly just brains and whatnot in here, nothing fancy. The radiator is curved, as you can see. Also that flap maybe a bit taller, maybe would have helped a bit from there to keep the dust away from the middle. But I would say you would have to turn it because the length is not going to help anymore. But then it's of course going to hit a bit. But maybe a gentle curve here would have been very beneficial. Maybe some aftermarket's going to be available later. And thing with the curve, it's why it's curved, is because it enables more travel. If you be straight on, it'd be a lot harder to get that. You have to extend it or do anything weird. And also there's two fans, nice fans. They work pretty nicely. They're not very loud. It's pretty good. Tail light is very nice. Also the tail section is very nice and decent. Let me just jump on it. The gas tank feels a bit clunky, and the hole is pretty small. Like that diameter is nice, but there's an inner lip or edge. It's kind of weird to see the fuel and then you shoot it in. The nozzle is also quite big, so it's hard to look what's going on, and it's a bit clunky feeling. Maybe it's because it's new too. Maybe it's gonna get better after a while, most likely. And these buttons are high quality, nice. The levers, the clutch one feels a bit, you can maybe hear it, a bit clunky, but it's adjustable. The both levers are adjustable. Right now they're both in the shortest position anyway, but you can extend them out and in. It feels nice. The clutch is very light. Brake is very responsive. The mirrors are very good mirrors, actually, as they should be that big. The downside of these mirrors is because it is single cylinder. On highways you get this vibration and it's harder to see, but if you have to touch, if you want to see far, you see the car, but if you want to see the details, you would have to touch it, hold it. It doesn't vibrate a lot, the engine, but of course it's single cylinder. They really can't do anything about it. There's some dampener here and there around the engine and all the mounts in here to make it feel better, and feels quite nice. It's nothing uncomfortable, right? But something to think about. Now this should be the bag holder, to sell with the bag as well if you want it. It has a USB out port here, so you could have your phone, navigation or whatever. You could charge. There's also connectivity options. You can connect to your phone, navigation, headsets, stuff like that. I'm gonna show how the screen looks later. It's a dedicated section for that. And yes, what I'm gonna show you is, let me see if we can install it. See, you can install it. And why could we install it? Well, quite simply put, it's because of the Euro 5, actually Euro 5 Plus, European emission standard. The advantage of other cylinders driving it while one cylinder so-called rests, or goes between the cycles, so you need more fuel. You need a bigger bang to have enough time to keep the momentum before it starts to slow down to bang again. So that takes more fuel. But if you read it from the exhaust, it shows more bigger emission. So to get past that, they made the first half, not even first half, first third, or even a bit more, 40% of the engine capacity made quite lean. So they give it less gas, so it's barely running, barely running with some extra. And that's all with every single cylinder Euro 5 Plus or Euro 5 engines. You can feel it's hungry. It wants more fuel, and about 5 and 6,000 it's somewhere where it gets decent fuel and then it starts living again. It's a quite easy fix. You just need to use a fueling map, plug and play. They are usually where you put there's a main ECU or main brain, wires come out, you plug it in between the main brain and between the fuel injector, so it rewrites it. And newer models are, decent models are around 400 euros, $400 or $500 euros, depends where you buy it from, and they work very well. They give about 5% more fuel, or the newer ones are Bluetooth, so you could just do it with your phone, almost similar to the computer fan profiles. You can swap how much you give to some RPM, how much fuel and stuff like that. But it has the KTM 390 motor or engine in, so they sell with those profiles as well, so there's a very good starting point there. And that will totally make this engine come alive and work very well. The windshield is pretty decent. It's mostly designed to protect that screen, which is understandable. And if you ride, let's say about half your chest is where it ends, that protection. And you don't get any turbulence to the helmet unless you're very short. So overall I would say it's very nice. But overall the buttons are very nice, and in the dark the screen is not too bright. These are just visual, it's not the tank itself. In a way it's good. It's hard to protect these, although there are a lot of metal here. You could put protection, a lot of options. The height, I'm 174, heels on the ground, well, quite barely. They're like gently missing, gently at the, if you're on, it's a bit uneven ground as well, a bit more even ground maybe. Both heels on the ground. Extremely light, as you can see. Holding first brake. I can easily put it on the soft, quite slippier ground, 45 degrees, no issues. Everything else is very, very good on the bike. Husqvarna is also a half decent company. It's, I would say, a bit above average. Something definitely worth buying. We got it from end of the season sale for 5,000 euros plus taxes. Not all taxes, just the registration and whatnot, so 5.32, something like that. The ask price was 6.5 normally, which already is also a very good deal on it. The welds here are half decent, I would say. Yeah, I could nitpick and stuff, but well, they will do. As a welder myself, I can see a bit of so and so, but I've seen that in Hondas and every other bike as well, so I'm not gonna say anything too bad. Definitely fun ride. Oh, we're losing road. On the single track now. Can't ride over. I'm still keeping my legs on. I saw actually the third bike track here. Tire mark at least. Somebody's been here maybe like 2 days ago. See how far we can go on that track before we run out of passable. Oh, we got some dirt. Not deep. Let's go to the side. It's getting boggy. I'm still seated. Well, I do stand up a little bit sometimes, but legs are still on, I mean. As you can see, maybe there's some bog on the left. Oh, we got... And that's where we technically could get on top of those, but I'm not exactly sure where are we going. And I need to do a break. As you can see, the hill is so high I can't even get the leg up. Hill. Let's just rotate a bit. Try to get the leg. But here we are, riding somewhere and same time nowhere. It's a bit of a weird video maybe, but would I recommend buying it? Yes, definitely. If you're riding city, it's very good. If you're riding highway trying to be a speedster, not that good. If you want to go off-road riding, not that good. If you want to ride these types of road that we rode today and then get stuck by the small, well, maybe not stuck, but you don't want to risk, or you know, then that's definitely a bike for you. It's definitely more road. Let's say 70% road, 70% city, 30% off-road, single track. These are especially good tires. They're like 230 euros a piece. So for that value, we got it for like 5 grand. It was the end of the season offering. So for us, definitely worth it. Even for 6.5, it's definitely a very good deal. Like I said, the only thing that is the fuel mapping. If you get that sorted out, which is quite easy, but with the warranty case, you want to wait maybe at least half the warranty, so the main issues come out, or a full warranty, and then do the swap, because it might break the warranty most fueling issues. You have to check your own warranty for that, different countries, but that's definitely something to consider. It's definitely a nice bike. The 24 model is definitely not better than the older model. And yes, what else can I say? The mirrors are good, the seat is nice. There aren't really much of a downside for that. They even have the curved radiator so the 4 can have more travel, and yes, it could use a bit of a turn here, maybe to cover the, because there's some dirt does fly here, but that's most bikes have that problem. So maybe if you want to use a mud guard here in the center, there's some attachment holes you can use. But yes, these tires are very nice. There's Scorpion Trail, actually there's Scorpion Rally STRs. My bad, I thought they were trails. Scorpion Rally STR, yeah, Scorpion Rally STR. 150/60 R17 in the back and 110/70 R17 in the front. So I guess thanks for watching, if you're still watching, and definitely consider that bike. This bike is very nice, and like I said, we spent our own money for it, so we aren't just taking it out for a spin. We're gonna be enjoying it for a few years, and if some problems occur, we're gonna post a video about it, and you will most likely hear about it. Right, thanks.